3, 2, 6, 7. What is up, guys? Generic YouTube start to a video. Hope everyone is having a good day today. I know you can't answer me because this is on video, but I hope you're having a good day anyway. Welcome to today's video on the channel. Daryl Hopcutt coming at you from Daryl Hopcutt channel. Surprise, surprise. Let's get straight into it this morning. We've had our coffee. The pugs are sleeping. Christmas tree, we're good to go. Okay, so welcome to today's video. I want to talk about a subject today that touches me personally, not in a weird way, but touches me personally deep, basically. Still sounds weird, but basically about working jobs that you hate and you do it just for a day-to-day pay or week-to-week or month-to-month paycheck, and getting out of that rut. And I'm not expert on life. I'm not somebody who's going to try and sell you a plan. I'm not somebody who's going to try and say, this is how you should live your life. You should be doing this. You should be getting up at 4 a.m. You should be doing all this crazy shit. I'm just somebody who has lived through certain things and hated my jobs at times in my life and done jobs just for the sake of doing them. And I can come through the end of that and say that leaving them, getting the courage to jump into the unknown, being scared, how that has changed me as a person and made me a better person for that. So if you're waking up today on Tuesday, it'd be better if it was a Monday, it'd sound more work week like, but if you're waking up today on a Tuesday, driving to work, as I once was, working that 9 to 5 grind, doesn't have to be that. I always use that as an example, the office 9 to 5 grind, because that's what I did. I did that in the UK for like 8 years, and I found it very, I'm not sure what this hand is doing, but I found it very robotic and something that you can easily become so comfortable with. You can become sat in your chair, get there in the morning, probably a couple minutes late, or maybe early if you're early about it, get at your desk, have your morning coffee, and you're just there for 8-9 hours, draining it out, and there's nothing really happening. No neurons are really coming together up there because you're doing this work for somebody else, you're doing this work for somebody else's company, and you're kind of just doing what you gotta do, very robotic, and you sat around with a group of people that are doing the same. And it's very difficult to get out of that mindset, because by the time you know it, like I said, I did that for 8 years. By the time you know it, 5 years is gone, 8 years is gone, and you're still in the same position. What I did was, I looked around and saw people that had been there longer than me in these jobs. I saw people that had been there 10, 15, 20 years. I always say when I go to Costco, and this is not a diss, by the way, on anyone that works these kind of jobs. If you can love that job, and I'm a massive believer about loving what you do because you're there basically more than you see your family, predominantly. If you can love your job and still go and do this, what I find boring but may not be to you, then good for you. This is not a diss to you. But going back to the point, I'd look at people that had been there for these massive amounts of times, and they were depressed, they were angry, they were stressed out, they'd lost their hair, they were, whether that's genetic or not, but they just looked 20 years older than what they was. And I knew if I allowed myself to fall into the deep sand trap and sink into that, for me, a level of mediocrity, to sink within that, I knew that if I allowed that to happen, I would be there for another 10 years, I would be pushing on 40, and I would have wasted my life doing something that I hate and making somebody else's money for them. And that was not my plan. But if I did that, if I just said, Daryl, shut up, get on with your work, do your Monday to Friday, enjoy your weekend, do it all over again, go on vacation twice a year, whatever, once a year. If I did that and stayed there for another 15, 20 years, you better believe that I would have had no excuses. Personally, I would have not been able to complain, because how can I complain for something that I predominantly chose? So I took a choice, I made a choice to take myself out of that environment, to jump into the unknown, to move to Canada, and very random, but get a working visa and start a new life on a mysterious, sounds like Atlantis, a mysterious unknown country, doing something completely different, not knowing what I was going to do. But at that very moment, when I left my job, when I told my boss I was leaving, I felt the energy, the neurons start coming back together, the excitement of what I had when I was a kid, the excitement of life, rather than knowing that this is going to be life for the next 20 years and this is horrible, rather than this is life just starting and this is amazing. And I'm a massive believer of that. If the only thing that can make a change in your life is action. You act on something, and sometimes I need to kick my ass into gear and say, Daryl, you need to act more, you're sat around too much, or you're doing whatever. But as soon as I start acting on certain things, then change starts happening. And whether that change needs to change itself, remember it's a change that's happening, I'm like, okay, well, I've done this, but I need to mold that change into a different direction, but keep acting on it, to keep going that way. For me, it's always good to change and adapt to that environment. And this was just a little spur of the moment video this morning, guys. I've got some time. Like I said, the pugs are asleep. And I just wanted, it really, and everyone can choose their own path, but I am a massive believer in you, and I'm going to get conned as, I'm a massive believer, I've said it like 5 times, but I don't want people to waste their lives. I want everyone, and when I'm on the road driving around at like 9 AM in the morning, I feel that negative energy and that just that anger and that frustration from people just being near them in their cars. Everyone honking the horn, stressed out. I get that. I totally get that. But for you to be able to change your life, you need to act on something. And that can be scary when you have a family to provide for, or you have a paycheck to pay the rent, or whatever. That can be scary. But it'll all, I promise, and like I said, I'm not a guru. I don't want to make out of it from some guy that knows everything, because I'm not. I've got many flaws, and I continue to work on them throughout my life and develop myself as a human being, and that will continue until probably the day I die, to keep chasing, developing myself. But the biggest change you can make in your life is to yourself, and if you do that, it'll be scary, but the excitement and the love you will find for yourself again will be amazing. I promise that if you start to take something that you hate and change your life and make something that you love, everything starts to make sense. But that's it, guys. The camera's actually starting to die now on the battery, but I just wanted to make a quick video. I hope this has kind of maybe inspired someone. I don't know, like I said, I'm not a guru, but I just wanted to kind of make a quick motivational video this morning and bring it to you guys. Gonna go before the camera gets off because the battery is blinking at me. But thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. I'll try and get more content out. Please comment if you want to, and I'll see you then.